Hello, people of the internet. So, as of the time I'm recording this, RetroStudio just added block coding, like scripting, and came out of beta like literally last night. So, I figured with the new scripting and stuff, which is pretty cool, very cool actually. I think I wanted to make a tutorial series and stuff, like just showing how you could make stuff. So in this video I'll be covering like basics, like what what stuff does and what you could do with stuff. So like doors, buttons, cool thingies that do cool things. So I'll just be showing that stuff in this video, and yeah, hope you will enjoy. So I'm gonna go build, create place. Here we'll call this tutorial world. We'll keep it at early 2013 because that's what it is set to in Studio or something like that, because the Studio mode doesn't set the same time period as what it is, so it would look different in the actual game. So this is the closest, I think, I'm pretty sure. Just 6. Whatever. Save settings. Boom, boom. So with the addition of scripting, so we can go here, we can insert a script, and this will put it into the workspace. And if we open this, we can see that this is the interface. You'd want to get used to this. So this is the grid, this is where all the blocks would be, because it's block script coding. And you have a list here with all these tabs for each block. And so the controls would be hold down right click and move the mouse to move around. You could right click, press reset camera to go back to the origin. Left click is to click, and scroll is to scroll in and out. So using this scripting, there's many things we could do. But for example, as a basic little thing, I have this guy, this part over here. Let's make him purple. So we have this part here, and we want him to be a button. We want to make this a button. We can put the script into the part, and we can go into this guy. And so actions are the actions. It's just defined. So normally you'd start with an event or an input, the things that would start whatever's going on. So we could go events and part touched. So this will be called when an object is touched. And so the object path is here. We would want to put the path to the object that when it is touched will call upon whatever this is going to do. To find the object path, so this part we can't just tell the script part. It's not gonna know what we're talking about. So we're gonna want the part is in the workspace. So in the game, it's gonna look into the workspace and find part. And so as a way to test this, we can put in a print block, which will say something, like it will print it into the output. So you can use this for many things, but in this way we're gonna use it to know that this is working. So we're gonna type hello world, I have been pressed. Okay, and so now to make it so that when this is done it will do this, we grab here and we just put it, boom. We can also align children to make things more organized. So yeah, the children are the things that this is the parent of this. And now just make sure this saved. And now if we go in game, we can find that in the output, if I step on this, it will do that. But let's say it did it multiple times for the amount of times it detected me standing on this. Let's say we don't want that. We want it to be so that when we just click it with the mouse, not when we step on it, perhaps. Okay, so instead of using this, we could use input click detector, and so this will make it so when blank is clicked, it will run the print. But we need this part to have a click detector so it can detect the clicks. So we'll insert one in just like that. We can go back into the script, okay, and we can put in a click detector. But now we want it to go to click detector, and we could again do game.workspace.part.click detector. But let's say our object might move out of the workspace, or just we want things to be simple. We don't have to type all of this in. We can type in, instead of looking through from the game, it will go from the script, which is this thing we're in right now, and it will go script.parent. Parent is what the previous thing is inside. The script's parent in this case is the part, and then so it will look into the parent, and then from the parent it will look to the click detector. And then so we connect that to this, and we can change it to I have been clicked, so we know it works. And now just so now we go in game, we can highlight our mouse. In Studio, in the actual game, it would turn our mouse into like a pointer thing, and if we click, hello world, I have been clicked. So it's a very just a button. Maybe we wanted to play a sound now, so we could go into our part and insert a sound. And for the audio clip, okay, so we're gonna put this idea in here. Let me just so you can see this better. Okay, and so this is the sound. We're gonna call this grandma. You'll see why in a second. So now, instead of, we can keep it so that when it prints, so we can still see that it's working in the output. But now we could go, and there's two ways we can play this audio. There's an easy way and there's a more complicated way, but the more complicated way could be used in different scenarios. And I just it's like there's a longer way and a shorter way, but the longer way could give you more like understanding. So the longer way would be to get set object property, which would set object property will set blank of blank to blank. So we can get the object, and in that object would be the sound script dot parent dot grandma. That's the sound, and we want it to set playing. We want the script to go to grandma and set playing to a value, a bool value, to true. So now the script is gonna look into the parent, and then it's gonna find grandma. It's gonna look for the playing value and set this to true. And so now when this does this, and just make sure this saved, we can go into the game, and it should.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
You can hear the audio clip. But let's say we want to do it the simpler way. We could just get rid of this, go boom, play sound. This just makes it so much simpler. But so now we just find script.parent.grandma, and we just connect this to that. Boom, boom, and now it works. So that's a nice button. We can make them do things. So that's we can do many things with buttons, but that's just a very simple example. Now, let's say we want to make I'm just gonna make a folder. There's no folders in RetroStudio, so I'm just gonna make a group and just call it folder. Just gonna keep stuff here for future reference. Let's say we want to make a door. Doors, there's nothing stopping us from going here, typing door in, placing this guy in, and then just going in game. Yay, a door. But let's say you wanna just learn, or you wanna in your game make a door, but you wanna change values. Since this is a reference script, we can't just open it and change stuff in it. So we're gonna have to remake the door. Okay. So what we would do for our door, let's go part, boom. Let's just put this guy here. Let's go boom. Like this, like so. Here is our door. So we want this door to open when the player goes through it. Because now we just walk into this door, it's nothing, it's a fraud, it's a fake. So we want this door to open when the player tries to go through it. We could do a button door, or we could just make it so that when the player touches the door, it just opens for a second, you can go through, it stops for a second. So for the first option, we can make a script inside this. I'm gonna call this part door. We can go script, and we can open the script. Now, so we can start by saying, so we want it so when the player walks into the door, it's gonna open for a second and then close. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna say when the part is touched, this part would be script.parent. So when the part is touched, when the player walks into it, we can just make a print. Actually, let's not do that right now. Let's just straight into it. We can very simple first. You could just do this, and then when you touch the door, it goes away. But then now I can go through, but now that door is gone forever and there's nothing you can do. But we want the door to be closable, so we're not going to use destroy. We're gonna go set object property. And so what we're gonna do is when the player touches the door, it's gonna go invisible for a second and you'll be able to walk through it. Then after like 3 seconds, it will be visible and it will have collisions once more. So to do this, you would want to make the door, you would wanna find script.parent, and you would want to set transparency of the script.parent to number 1. 1 transparency would mean fully transparent. 0 would mean not transparent at all. So, and then we want it. So let's just test this first. Let's just make sure this works. Now the door is transparent. So we can go door script. We can make it so we can go, after it does that, it's gonna wait 1 second, it's gonna wait 3 seconds, and then we're gonna have the same piece again, but this time it will set the transparency back to 0. So we can do that. We can go boom, just make this look nicer. And now when we go through the door, it will become invisible for a second, and then it goes back. But now we want it so you can also walk through the door while it's invisible. Okay, so it's gonna set it so it's transparent. It's gonna set it so that it can collide. I spelled that wrong. So collide is in the door. In the door, we can go down and can collide. This is its collisions right now. Yes, you can go. You can't walk through it. So it's gonna make it so that you cannot. We're gonna set it to a value, bool value, because here it's a value, and we're gonna make it false. And then it's gonna wait 3 seconds, and then it's gonna do both of these things. Again, it's gonna set the collisions to true. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So now, this should. You can walk through the door. You wait a bit, and the door comes back, and then, as you can see, it's solid again. And so what we just did is, when this part is touched, when the player walks into the door, it makes it transparent. It makes it have no collisions. It waits 3 seconds, makes it have collisions, and makes it visible again. Easy. It's a door. And so now that's great. That's what we've wanted. But let's say we want a button door. We want this door to only open when you press a button, like that free model we saw earlier. So what we can do now is we can just go here. So we can make a button on the side. Sure. And we're gonna call this piece, wait, let me just go. What the? We're gonna call this piece button. So we're gonna make it so when you press this button, it goes to the door, and it does what we just did here, but only when you press the button. So we're gonna put the door inside of the button for simplicity. Actually, let's make it the other way around. We'll put the button inside the door. And now we'll insert a script into the button. And so now we want it so when you click the button with your mouse, it will do what this happened, but you know, it will open and close the door. And so to do that, we need it to be able to detect your mouse. So we're gonna have a click detector on the button. So then now we can go into the script and click detector. When the script's parent's click detector goes, so it's gonna look into the button, then it's gonna find the click detector, and when that detects a click, it's gonna do stuff. Yeah. So now what we wanted to do is open and close the door. So we're gonna go actions, and we're gonna do very similar thing. We're gonna go script.parent. The parent of the button is the door, and we're gonna set its transparency to 1, and then we're gonna set script.parent.parents can collide to be false. So now that we've done that, we can now it's gonna wait 3 seconds, like the last one, and now it's gonna I accidentally deleted this block, but now it's back, so it's fine. So now it's gonna it's after it makes it transparent, and after it makes it so you can walk through it, it's gonna wait 3 seconds. Then it's gonna do the opposite. It's gonna undo what it just did. It's gonna make it so it's visible and it has collisions. So if we just do this, boom, make sure it's saved. Yep. So now we can go here, we can click this button, the door disappears, we can walk through, and it works. So that's a door. And so that's, yeah. So now we have two different types of doors. You have one that you can just walk through like that. You have one that you can click and go through. We can also make it, for example, make the door play sounds if you wanted to. So for example, you could we could go back, we could find grandma again, and we can put her into button, and we could make it so when the door is, when it's pressed, it will also go and play the sound. It will play script dot parent dot grandma, and you could use this, for example, if you had an actual proper sound. Let's just see. Oh, so in script, it's so right now what I just did is it's gonna wait for this. After this happens, then it's gonna play grandma. We want grandma to play with them, so that's what, no, we want grandma to the sound grandma to activate while it does that. So now we'll just put it in there, and then now
I've fallen and I can't get up.
so you could use this to make a door, like a sci-fi door, that plays a sound when it opens and then plays a sound when it closes. You can do so many things. And so with that out of the way, now you understand, like, I guess, buttons, simple buttons and doors and stuff. There's other stuff we could do. Let's say we have a sign. So the way the way signs work in, because these are the old versions of signs, so because it's RetroStudio, so we can't just make, we could just get a, we can't just make a GUI on the sign. What it does is the sign has a humanoid and a head part, which makes a name tag. So technically the sign is alive, that's why it has a health bar. But whatever. So let's say we want the sign to only display the text when you click on it. So we can go into the head of the sign and we can put a click detector. We can also put in a script, which is what we want. And so we're gonna delete this humanoid from the sign. We're gonna go sign, we're gonna say what text we can put in here. Among Us sus imposter. Okay, and now, so we want, when you click on the sign, it's gonna display that text. So we can go into the script, we can go input click detector. When script dot parent dot click detector is clicked, it's gonna go and create an object. So what the create object thing is gonna do is we need the class name of the object. So for example, what the object is called, like what the object is called, a script, a seat, a short graphic, model, fire, explosion. So what it's called and where it's gonna be. So we deleted the humanoid of the sign, so now it's not gonna detect the name tag anymore, and so now it's not gonna show any text. But so we can go back. We can go back into the script. We can go back into the script and make it so it will create an object when you click on it, and that object type is gonna be called humanoid. So it's gonna create a humanoid inside of script.parent.parent. So it's gonna create it inside of this model. So now when we do this, it should, when we go over to the sign and click on it, it displays the text. So there's simple things you could do with these buttons, and yeah, so we can do so many things with this. With the create object and stuff, we could, let's say we want a decal to appear. I'm going off the top of my head here. We can with this decal thing. So we want a thing to create a decal on this part. So we're gonna call this part yeah. So we want a decal to appear on the front of this thing when you touch it. So for an example, what decal are we gonna want? So we could go into the toolbox and go decals. So yeah, we have Bloxy Cola. We're gonna put this into this guy. And yep, oh, that's okay. So we want it to be on the left? No, on the right. So we want this to appear. So there's a couple ways we could make that appear. We could go into this guy where we want the decal to appear. We're gonna make a script, and we can say when the part is touched, it will when script dot parent is touched, it will create an object called, it will be a decal inside of script dot parent. There's two ways we could do this. Okay, so we could create a decal inside of script dot parent, and then we want to set the ID of the decal. So we want to set the ID of the decal. We want script dot parent. So now there's gonna be a decal inside the parent by now. So we're gonna script dot parent dot decal, and it's called texture. So script dot parent dot decal texture is gonna be set to this. Okay, and so now this should work. When I go and I bump into this guy, it appears there. We also want it to appear on the, oh, and look, it created like millions. Not actually millions, whatever. But we want it to only do it once as well. So let's go back into our script. We're also gonna set the object property so that it's not on that side. It's gonna, so where we wanted the script to be is on the right. So it's gonna go and it's gonna find the face, and it's gonna set it to right. And then after it does all that, we don't want it to activate like multiple like times infinitely. We want it to print done, and then we want it to delete the script so it can't be activated again because it's gone. So it's gonna wait for 1 second to make sure it's done when this happens, and then it's gonna go destroy object script. And so now we're gonna test this. We're gonna go in the game, we're gonna walk into this guy. It still appears on that side. Interesting. Did it save? It didn't even, okay, it didn't save. Let me just do this again. Okay, so now that it's saved, we should go here, and it works! But it's still going multiple times because the script didn't successfully delete. Oh, because I spelt it wrong. But as you can see, it works. So that's the first way you could do this. Okay, but now let's say we don't want to go through all of this trouble. We want it so that it will only we want the decal to already be defined when we do stuff. We don't want to have to go and create the decal and whatever, you know, and set its model and its texture and like all that stuff. We only want to just have the decal ready and just put it on this thing. So what we can do is we can have this guy over here. We can go into this script And let's just here script. So we have a new one here. Okay, so what we want is when the player goes and touches this part, it will already get it. Instead of creating the decal, setting its texture, setting it to the side, doing all that, it will just clone the one that we have on this guy. It will clone game.workspace dot let me just remove spaces because this just makes me not happy when I'm doing this stuff. Game.workspace dot delete, and it's gonna clone that to script. Let's just game.workspace dot, yeah. So it's gonna clone that to that, and then it's gonna print done. And let's just see if this works. So that's saved. Yep. So now, oh no, we need to only clone the decal, not the object. We need to clone game.workspace.delete.decal. What's it called? Okay, let's just change this to decal. So we want game.workspace.decal, we want the decal of this, not the thing itself. So we're gonna poke this, and it works. So we could also do the thing so that it doesn't go multiple times. And now we want this guy to go away after we were done with him. So it's gonna wait like a millisecond. So because you don't know what the player's doing. It's gonna wait like a millisecond, then it's gonna destroy game.workspace.delete, then it's gonna destroy itself. And now this saved. Yep. And now we should go, it gets the decal and gets rid of that guy. And so yeah, those are like some simple things you could do with scripting. Those are some simple things you could do with scripting. I just came up with something in my head just now. We could go and we could spawn in a zombie, and we're playing. Let's say we are making a game, and you want this zombie to just not do anything. It's basically the same thing as this sign. So let's just put in a part, because this is what the frick. This is gonna be interesting. Now I know this is not gonna work flawlessly because of how this guy is being handled and how he's made, but we could do something pretty cool. We could get this guy's humanoid, and we can put it into our folder here. So now this guy is just dead, okay? And let's just change his walk speed to 40. Yeah. And so now we're gonna make it so when you press this button, we're gonna go events, part touched. When this button is touched, script parent, when it's touched, it's gonna go and clone game.workspace.folder.humanoid. It's gonna clone that to game.workspace.zombie. Yeah, that is correct. So then after it clones that, it's gonna print run for your life. And now it's gonna delete itself. It's gonna wait 0.1 seconds. So you can't do this multiple times. Well, so you can't do this as many times, and it's gonna destroy itself. And now it should do something very interesting to the zombie. As you can see, he's motionless. He's not gonna do anything to me. What does this button do? He's back, but he's dead, but he's still attacking me. He's anchored. So what we want? We want this guy to be good in life. We're gonna press the button. Oh, he's just gonna come right for me. So he's not, he's as you can see, he's not enjoying himself very much. I don't think he likes being revived. But I don't think he enjoys being revived from the dead very much. But that's still very interesting. How we just did that. So, hope you guys enjoyed this, maybe learned something new. So, in the next video, I'll be showing how to make a melee weapon script, or not a tool, like a sword, from scratch. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, learned something, I guess. I don't know. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. Goodbye.